So this is the beginnings of the chain tunnel. I guess that's what I'm calling it. This is going to help protect, the driver and passenger from the chain, make sure we can't accidentally, because I will be putting cross bracing on the top as well as the sides. That's also going to help kind of strengthen the frame up a little bit more, and I'll be putting aluminum paneling on the top and the sides and the bottom, so therefore we can't accidentally grab this thing or shove our foot in here accidentally while we're driving this. So, but we'll add the cross bracing later as well as the aluminum, because I just kind of wanted to get these in place, kind of just figure out where they're gonna go. And I want to add cross bracing to this, but I kind of need to figure out, because there's gonna be other tubing connecting to this, but I need to figure out where that's gonna go, because I want the other tubes to go to that, so it's all triangulated and everything. So we'll do that later. So, I think let's start working on finally adding doors to this project. Yes, I am doing doors. I know that's kind of been a really big question throughout this whole project is, am I doing them? Am I not doing them? But I do want to add doors. That's why I put this bar as high as it is. So my original plan for doors was going to be something like this. I was going to have a piece of tubing going from here down, bend it, go down over, and then back up to that, and then kind of just cut this piece of tubing and put the door here. But looking at that really doesn't give us that much room to do any cross bracing on here, and I really want to be able to make this frame as strong as possible. So after staring at this for a long time, I think I came up with an idea for a better door. It's going to be a bit smaller, but it's going to allow us to do cross bracing, and I think it's going to look a little bit cooler than this square monstrosity. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to have a piece of tubing that's not the door going from this corner right here. We're going to bend it down and then go to the bottom corner right there, and then that is going to be our cross bracing, and then I'm going to go back from here up to here. This is going to connect up to there, and then this part is going to be the door. That's still going to allow us to do some type of cross bracing in here, and I think the door is going to look a little cooler. And but it is going to be smaller, but it's still a door. So yeah, I think that's a lot better of a plan than this. This will work, but it's, I don't know. I never liked the look of that. How's that look? I think that looks a lot better than the first idea I had. Alright, so I kind of need to figure out where this is going to go. I bent this at 90, but I'm probably going to have to bend it a little bit more because I want this to be a smooth transition between here and here. But I'm not sure exactly on where this is going to go because I want this directly across from this tubing that's going to go from here to this corner. And I'm not sure where that's going to go yet because that is going to have to be next to the tubing that's going to act like the dashboard of this frame where the steering wheel is going to attach to. The controls are going to be attached to that, so we need to figure out where that's going to be on this frame, as well as do we want it to just go straight across, or do we want it to bend up a little bit and then back down and everything. So we kind of need to figure out where the steering wheel is going to go on this thing. But actually, let's add the tubing that's going to go from this corner to that corner. That'll kind of help us determine where the dashboard piece of tubing is going to go and the height and everything. Mainly just where the steering wheel is going to be on this thing. Then that'll determine where this has to go and this has to go. Yeah, I may want to raise this up just a tiny little bit. Not by much, but by a little. Because I don't want the steering wheel like down to here. So maybe just bend this up just a little bit. Yeah, I think this looks a lot better while still allowing us to have a door, and this still allows us to have cross bracing on here and strengthen this frame up. Now, I know the door is a bit small right here, but I think the most important thing with a door is having it big right here, so therefore we can easily swing our feet in and out, therefore we can get out, and then swing our feet to get back in. That's why I had to bend this tubing right here to get it a little bit further forward while still allowing it to connect up to this piece of tubing right here. And then I wanted a smooth transition from here to here. So next thing is we got to figure out where the door is going to stop and the frame is going to continue right here, where exactly we want that. Do we want it straight up and down? Do we want it at an angle? All that kind of stuff, as well as, because I do want this part of the tubing to be part of the door, I'm going to cut it here, and then it's going to be part of the door, but I want it to look like a continuous piece of tubing when the door is closed, and we're going to have 1-inch tubing going from here down here, follow this, and then that is going to be part of the door. So, also, I looked on eBay and Amazon to see if I could buy hinges for a buggy as well as a latch, and I couldn't find anything, so we're probably going to have to build that stuff. We got to figure out how we're going to build that stuff. So, let's work on getting the door figured out where it's going to stop right here, and then we can actually start working on building the actual door itself. How's that look? I think that's a good spot for it. It feels so unnatural to be cutting something like this, but I know it's gonna work. So, when I first bent this piece of tubing, there was a huge gap right here, and so because I'm putting body paneling on this whole thing, I want it to where there's a perfect 1/8 of an inch gap between the door and the frame and everything. I don't want like a giant gap right here and giant gap right here, and I want it to be nice and uniform, which is making it more challenging than I thought it was going to be, because the bender I have can only do a certain radius, and that radius just made it to where there's a giant gap right here. Now, I was doing this trick where I was using a big piece of pipe that I have and putting this in that pipe, and then using another piece of pipe on here, and then using a blowtorch to heat up very specific spots to get this bend a lot tighter and get it in the corner a lot better, and that was kind of working, but it was bending other spots, and I'd have to bend that back, and I was kind of fighting it the whole time, and it just wasn't very accurate. Now, I do have this idea on how to build this universal bender that I've been kind of wanting to build for a couple years now, and I think it would be very helpful to get this a lot more accurate, and I don't think it's going to take that long to build this universal bender. All we really got to do is just cut out plate, drill some holes, and weld this in together. So let's take a quick break from working on the doors to build this universal bender, and then we can use that to get this a lot more accurate. Look at that.
Yeah, annular cutters are now my new favorite tool. There's no way I could have done that fast with a drill bit. And it's super accurate. Look at that.
So, I'm kind of at the point where I'm a little tempted to make this thing a little bit better, clean up the edges better, make custom pins, because I kind of wanted to have this part of the bender be the base and have this clamped onto the table and have all of this hanging over the table. And to do that, I need to make it to where these pins don't fall through the holes, and I was kind of planning on doing very similar to how these pins are on my tubing bender, to where, you know, this part is what fits in the hole, but the very top of it is wider so it doesn't fall through. I kind of wanted to do the same thing with this, but to do that, that's a lot of machining, that's a lot of extra time, and because I'm kind of on a time crunch with this, and because I'm building this to help me build the doors for this project, I kind of wanted to get this thing finished so therefore I can use it to help me build the doors for this thing. So let's just weld it together. I'll weld plate on the bottom end of this, therefore the pins don't fall through, and I'll weld this to this. I'm basically just gonna use this as a base and weld this piece of plate onto here, so therefore we can clamp it to the table. Now, a bender like this only works if it's bolted to something that can't move around. Now, I bolted it to the table, but that wasn't enough. The table was just moving around, so I had to ratchet strap the table to the shelving, and it's kind of working. I was able to bend this half inch, I think this is almost half inch, solid round stock pretty easily. This is really, it's not for, you know, with tubing, it's not for bending, it's more for slight tweaking and getting the bends perfect. And normally, I'll admit, normally you don't build a bender like this. Normally, a bender like this, you put whatever you're bending in the middle of it, and it's a lot more stronger to do it that way, but I made it to where you bend whatever you're bending on top, just for ease of building it. And I think it'll still work just fine. We're not bending super thick material with these things, and these are 1-inch pins, so good luck bending that when trying to bend stuff like this. So, and check it out, it bends this stuff pretty easily. I mean, with one hand, I can easily bend it. Yeah, look at that. Anyway, let's finally put this thing to use, and let's try to finish the doors for this project. It's not perfect. There is a bit of a large gap here. This is larger than an eighth of an inch. This is a little gap here, but you know what? I'm calling it good enough. Alright, so the doors are mostly finished. We still need to obviously do the hinges as well as the latching mechanism. Now, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna do the latching mechanism yet. I kind of have two ideas. One of them involves basically just a pin that goes in and out that has a handle right here that you pull the handle, pulls the pin out, you can open it, but that would make it to where you'd have to pull the pin to close it and latch it, which isn't the end of the world, but it would be kind of nice to be able to pull it, open it, and then slam it shut, and it latches itself. That would be kind of nice, but I'm not sure exactly how. I don't know. I think maybe I could do that, but I don't know. We're going to have to experiment with that. So, because the latching mechanism on these doors has to be strong, because we don't want the doors opening as we're driving this thing, and most importantly, I think, we don't want this thing rattling as we're driving it. I don't want it noisy and rattling, so I got to figure out some way to, latch it easily, but not have it rattle and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I definitely like the look of these things. These doors look awesome, and I'm gonna say this because I know some of you guys are thinking this. Yes, I did consider doing what is it called? Not suicide doors. That's when they open this way. But gullwing? Is it whatever the Lamborghini doors are, where it kind of opens and then does this? That would be awesome. That would be cool. But man, would that be kind of hard to do that mechanism? I'm not sure exactly how I would do that. But I did consider it. After figuring out how I would do it and just the complicated way of doing that, I decided against it. But it would be cool to do that, but I think I'm just going to stick with the doors just swinging out like a normal door. So now, truth be told, it's not perfect. I wanted this to have a perfect 1/8 of an inch gap between the door and the frame, and it's close. But there's just some spots, like right here, there's a bit of a gap, right here, there's a bit of a gap, so it's not perfect, but making that bender definitely helped a lot, getting this as close as possible. So I am glad that it only took me like not even like a day and a half to make that thing, and I've been wanting to make it for a couple years now, so we can have a bender for, you know, round stock and all that kind of stuff. I know you can buy those things pretty cheap, but for me, I have the most fun making that kind of stuff. So anyway, next video is we'll put on the hinges. I'm not sure yet if we're going to do the latching mechanism. We may save that for future videos. And then possibly in the next video, we will finally get to installing the suspension on this project and finally get this thing standing up on its own and finally see what this thing looks like off the floor and, you know, standing up. So anyway, guess that's it for this video. Thank y'all for watching. I gotta end this video here. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you in the next video.